Clerk can take the roll.
Commissioner Brassad. Here. Commissioner Reinert.
Here.
Commissioner Schulte.
Here.
Commissioner Look.
Here.
Commissioner Gamache.
Here.
Commissioner Jepson. Here. Commissioner Meisner.
Here.
All present and accounted for. We'll move on to item 4, which is consider accepting the regular claims paid over $500 and purchase card claims paid for the period ending June 30th, 2023. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Brassad.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Jepson. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes. Item 5 is approval of minutes from the June 27th, 2023 County Board meeting. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Schulte.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Jepson. Any subtractions, additions, or changes? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting minutes are adopted. Under Chair's Marks, we have one item today, and that's to note that our county's annual Rite of Summer will be in full swing in about 2 weeks. This year, the Anoka County Fair runs from Tuesday, July 25th to Sunday, July 30th. I think all of us here are very familiar with what the fair has to offer, and it's always a great experience, whether you've been there every year for decades or if this is the first year you plan to attend. The fair includes a variety of food, rides, and always popular tractor pull, and plenty of gifted musicians that share their talents on the stage throughout the fair. Our county departments are also staffed, working booths at the fair, so this is a great opportunity to learn about about the many services Anoka County offers to our residents. Mike Alles, President of the Anoka County Fair Board, is here today to talk more about what to expect this year at the fair. Mike?
Morning, everyone.
Morning. Good morning.
So this year's going to be exciting. I mean, even more than in the past. Just to let you know, we have a Kids Day this year. Being now that we've actually went more electronic with our ticketing, it allows us to be a lot more versatile and being able to do specials, on-the-fly specials, stuff like that. So we have a Kids Day this year. So it's half off the rides and the gate. So it's going to be a pay one price at the gate, and the kids get a ride for the whole day. Granted, it's the whole day, meaning we open the fair at 1, so that's going to be exciting. Last year, we started an ag education building. If you remember, right outside of the blue building, we have that. It used to be a commercial building with exhibitors. And last year, we turned that into an ag education center. And we won 2 national awards with that last year through the International Association of Fairs and Expositions. So that was pretty impressive. And this year, we're even going to have a stage inside there, have some live animals, some demonstrations. So we're really trying to bring a lot more ag aspect back into the fair too. Because also, as you know, a lot of our animals are depleting in this county. I mean, we don't have the farms that we used to. So we're trying to really be intentional of keeping the ag portion with the fair. This year also, we got rid of, I'll just go through our lineup. On Tuesday, we have motocross. Wednesday, we have bull riding. Thursday, we normally had tractor pulls, but this year we're bringing in a National Country Act. Tyler Farr is coming in. With his opener is going to be Anderson Daniels. He's a Champlin High School graduate. And so we got some local entertainment there to open to. And he's going to do a meet and greet up in the beer gardens afterwards too. So that's going to be exciting, doing a national act, which we haven't done before. Now that'll be in the grandstand. It's the same setup as the bull riding. So but we're also going to have, you can upgrade from just gate admission, which gets you to the concert. You can also pay to get VIP seating right down by the stage or get down on the track area too for an upcharge. But other than that, there still is no cost to go see Tyler Farr at the fair other than gate admission. This year, we're also not having the big tractor pulls are on Friday. Saturday is going to be monster trucks this year instead of our big air event that we've had in the past. And then demo derbies, of course, on Sunday. So that's our lineup for it. Again, it's exciting. We've been doing a lot of work around there already. The grounds look nice. We're trying to make every improvement we can, even if it's just a coat of paint. So, you guys have any questions?
Questions? there's a little bit of construction going on, Mike. Talk to us a little bit about how we're planning to work around that.
Well, I seen them down there at the Commissioner's building yesterday, so they are doing a little bit of construction on your building, so that's going to be upgraded, but I'm sure that's not the construction you're talking about. Got it. You know, we have two choices. Put on a fair or don't put on a fair. People will get there. I still get there every day. Michaela shows up to work every day, so it's not impenetrable. It's going to be different. That's all I can say. I still think that because of the lineup we're having and we're trying to do things more, especially with our social media advertising and everything else, our name's really getting out there, that they're going to come. And traffic's never good anyways, so you can still access. And we're also going to put a link on our website with the latest MnDOT map of how to get there. So that way they can click on it and try to help them navigate how to get there. There's still a lot of ways to get there, just not through Ferry Street. Sorry.
Yeah, Commissioner Meisner.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chair. And I apologize. I hope that this is not considered in bad taste to ask this question, because I know it was not the county fair, but it happened on the fairgrounds. It was like a new event that happened just a couple months ago, but I'm not sure if you actually ran that. If you did, I was just going to ask how that went.
Oh, okay. That was our spring festival, and it was kind of a kickoff to, again, we're trying to get name recognition out
Yep.
there. We're really trying to get people to, oh, something's happened at the Anoka County Fair again, to help drive year-round events. So what we did, it started out kind of as a food truck demonstration, you know, letting people come in with their food trucks. And from that, we kind of morphed it into a little bit more. There's a few activities, so you can still stop by
Yeah.
and get some food and do a few other activities. And so it was a first year for it. It turned out really good. It gave us a
Okay.
lot of ideas on how to make that even better for next year. It's kind of like a spin-off of what we did with our fall festival after the fair.
Okay.
Again, we're really trying to just use the fairgrounds for more than just one event a year.
Yeah, just follow-up comment. No, thank you, and I am glad now that I asked, because I just was like remembering that past event, but I knew that it was a new one, an inaugural one, so glad that it went well, and you said that you are planning to do that again in the future.
We are.
Okay,
And
excellent.
We are, and our fall festival too. That was new last year also. That was the first time too,
Okay, good.
so.
Never ceases to amaze me, all the ideas you guys come up with over there. I mean, storing vehicles, to storing boats during the off-season, to all these different ways of utilizing the space, as you indicated. Besides just putting on a fair, you come up with very creative ideas to utilize the area over there. So I know that, you know, whether it's the RV shows that come in, or I know there's people selling fireworks. I mean, it's just, I'm amazed at all the ideas that continually come out of there, so.
Well, thank you, Commissioner. Look, one of the reasons, and I will let, because there's others watching, is that the Anoka County Fair is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. Yes, we have the name Anoka County, but we're not funded by any tax dollars or any other source of income. And we do not generate enough revenue from the county fair to put on a county fair. Meaning, if we did, our gate prices would have to be so high. So the way that we subsidize that is that we do boat storage, we do these other things in the off-season, the spring festival, the fall festival, so we can generate an annual budget big enough to put on a really good fair. And that's one of the reasons that we're able to bring in a Tyler Farr now as a county fair and stuff like that, because of the off-season stuff that we do.
Commissioner Schulte.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, thank you. I just want to address the traffic issue one more time, and not so much for fairgoers, but for the local neighbors that live around there. It's been challenging already with the construction, the bridge, everything that's happening there. But I just implore the neighbors to exercise as much patience and caution during these 2 weeks to make sure that everybody stays safe and that they get where they're going. And maybe take a double check on what time you're leaving your house to make sure it's not during that peak rush. And so just to get everybody to be better neighbors when the fair is in motion, because it is a big event. It draws a lot of people and changes the neighborhood for a couple of weeks. So, thank you.
Can you give us a little, talk to us about the volunteers too? I want to give them a shout out.
We have a lot of volunteers. You know, Michaela, this is Michaela, she's our fair manager, and you know what, I'm gonna let her speak on the volunteers, because she's coordinated a lot of this. By the way, the spring festival and the fall festival, that was her.
Hi, I'm Michaela Liebel, Anoka County Fair Manager. This will be my second fair, so I'm really excited. So this is kind of like the first one I got to see from start to finish. So last year I started 2 months before the fair, which was a learning experience. I mean, it's hard to see a fair without actually seeing a fair. So I'm happy that I got the first one over, and it was successful. And then now we get to do a second fair. But our volunteers are amazing. We actually have, it's called Volunteer Sign Up. It's a link on our website, and you can volunteer at the fair. You can also get paid at the fair. We're hiring for security for Tyler Farr, if any of you guys are interested. You stand really close to Tyler Farr. But we have, right now, I think we have 256 people signed up for shifts. We have 526 slots total. So we're over halfway there, so that's good. A lot better than we were last year. But I mean, the more people, the better. I mean, you see people walking around in yellow shirts. They're always asking you how you're doing, how's the fair going, what can we do? And we also got, for our info booth this year, we never had diapers or sunscreen. And I'm like, that's something that will deter someone to leave the fair. So that's one of the really little changes that we're doing, but I think it will be really helpful for a lot of families, so.
And so these volunteers, they take generally vacation time, their own vacation time, and they come, and some stay on the grounds there in
Yeah.
RVs, and it's amazing. Amazing.
Yeah, we have 17 board of directors. They're all volunteer. Most of them live on the fair during the fair. So it's great. I mean, Mike gets up at 5 or maybe even earlier in the morning and doesn't go to bed until the safe's balanced, so.
Well, it's truly, truly amazing, and it's so much fun. I mean, the fair is, everybody knows when the fair is in town, and based on some of the numbers that have come through there in the prior years, it's just amazing, the draw and the fun time that everyone comes and partakes in at the fair. It's usually very family-oriented, and I know that people really look forward to it. So please give a thank you to all your volunteers and to everyone involved, and we'll have Commissioner Schulte out there directing traffic for get people in there. But I think, I think there's been a good understanding of the work that's being done out there on the highways, and we're sympathetic to the challenges that creates. But hopefully that'll be wrapping up here, and we can.
On a final note, though, I'd like to make a shout out to you guys, to the county commissioners, to Jeff with Parks, and all the support that we get from you guys too. We couldn't do this without your help, so thank you.
Thank you. Well, we hope to see everyone at the fair. Thanks for coming in. Okay, we will move on to committee reports here, and we'll start off with the Management Committee. The Management Committee met on June 27th, and I came away with one action item, and is the action item is the Management Committee recommends adoption of Resolution 2023-M3, accepting a donation to the Anoka County Attorney's Office. You see that attached there. And is there an offer of the resolution?
I'll offer it.
Resolution's been offered by Commissioner Schulte. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That resolution passes. We'll move on to the additional board agenda item, which was discussed this morning in the Management Committee. And this has to do with positions. The first is a new refund restructure position for Human Services and Community Corrections, effective July 11, 2023. This is a 5 FTE probation officer probation officer 4, grade 34, range of 33.66 to 47.12 per hour, and 1/2 FTE probation officer unfunded, grade 34, range 33.66 to 47.12 per hour. And this is still under a new 0.5 FTE probation officer 4, grade 34, also range 33.66 to 47.12 per hour. And we're changing that to a 1 FTE probation officer 4, grade 34, range 33.66 to 47.12 per hour. Is there a motion to approve A?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Gmash,
Second.
Second by Commissioner Reinert. Any discussion? Commissioner Gamache.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Some of these things that we're going to be talking about here in the next couple are all related to what happened in the legislature this year and the amounts of money that we are receiving, and also some of the changes about how we practice in some of these areas. So the good news is that we have money to be able to hire these people and bring them in. The tougher news was we had to make some changes as far as how we're doing some of these things based on what the legislature would like to see. But they did pay for it, which is good. We don't always see that. Sometimes we just get the rules changed and then we have to figure out how to account for that. But I want to thank the legislature in their infinite wisdom here. At this time, they did pay us, that we do have cash coming in. 2.9 million is part of that this year, and the total grant funding was 7.9 million. So that was good to see, because there are some important changes that are being made in this probation and in the next couple that you're going to hear about, but it's at least going to be funded. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Reinert.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. And I guess Commissioner Gamache did make the point I was going to in that actually there's, I think, going to be, what, 16, 18 people we're going to be adding here. Kind of a shocker, I guess, for some people that might be watching, but it is mandated by the state and paid for by the federal and state government. And typically, this is actually a good example of what I guess county work does. I mean, a lot of what we do is we're the administrative agent for federal and state government. So they come up with ideas, figure out what they're going to spend on it, and then we do the work. So just want to make that point that we're not just adding a bunch of people. This is work that has been passed down and paid for.
Further discussion? I have noted here 2 roll call votes. One is going to be for the new 5 positions, and then the other one will be for the transition of the .5 FTEs to the new 1.0. So this first motion we will take as the first of the 5 FTEs. So any further discussion on that? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Commissioner Reinert,
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte,
Aye.
Commissioner Look,
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache,
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson,
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner,
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad.
Aye.
And that passes unanimously. Then we'll ask for a motion on the transition from the 2 half-time FTEs to full 1.0 FTE probation officers.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Moved by Commissioner Schulte.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Jepson, I think I heard first, okay. Discussion on that. Seeing none, roll call vote. I'm sorry. Commissioner Meisner.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I mean, you guys covered all the financials around some of these changes. I just thought I'd just voice some of these changes are, again, mandated, but very good. Truancy was just one example that we heard about today. There's been over 700 additional calls around truancy. So being able to basically really identify the needs and like run support around that. So I just wanted to voice the how we're doing it and how this is actually being implemented to people in our communities. Thank you.
And I think what should also be noted is with the additional mandates that are coming down from the legislature, yes, they're funded, but if we didn't add additional positions on it, the caseloads would extend to a point that people would be overburdened and wouldn't be able to handle the workload, and then you'd have burnout and people leaving and that sort of thing. So this is a necessary move in order to increase the workload and still manage people's sanity, shall we say. Okay, so this is a transition from the 2.5s to 1.0. Any further discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Commissioner Schulte,
Aye.
Commissioner Look,
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache,
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson,
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner,
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad,
Aye.
Commissioner Reinert.
Aye.
And that passes unanimously. We'll move on to B, which is a new position for Human Services Community Corrections effective July 11, 2023, where we're looking to add 3 new FTEs, Supervisor, Community Corrections, grade 36, range 3871 to 5419. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Moved by Commissioner Reinert.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Gamache. Discussion.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Commissioner Schulte.
A quick question. I wasn't at the management committee meeting. Was it addressed on the availability of workforce to fill these positions? I assume somebody talked about it because it is the #1 thing that comes up at all our meetings.
Yeah, so as it was described to us, we're trying to get a quick start out of the gate here, as a lot of metro counties are dealing with the same funding, the same positions, and so there will be challenges, I think, in trying to hire some of these. Our Helios study has positioned us well in terms of hiring for these positions, and we shall see, obviously, as how many people apply and what we're looking at, but we're hoping to fill them.
Thank you.
Commissioner Jepson?
Yes, Commissioner Schulte, I did ask that question specifically because these are a lot of people and we're hearing over and over that departments are having a hard time filling. Chair Look mentioned something about the Helios study and Cindy Caesar mentioned that that will greatly impact our ability to recruit. But also, since these positions are so essential and necessary, we needed to act fast, and that's why this is coming now, to try and get ahead of the curve in other areas in competing for these positions.
Very good, thank you.
Okay, further discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Commissioner Look.
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson.
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad.
Aye.
Commissioner Reinert.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
And that passes unanimously. We'll move on to C, which is a new position for Human Services Community Corrections effective July 11, 2023. 1 FTE lead program planner, grade 36, range 3871 to 5419 per hour. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Brassad,
Second.
second by Commissioner Meisner. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson.
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad.
Aye.
Commissioner Reinert.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
Commissioner Look.
Aye. And that passes unanimously. We'll move on to item D, which is a new position for Human Services Community Corrections effective July 11th, 2023. It's a 1.0 FTE senior social worker, grade 34, range 3366 to 4712 per hour. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Jepson, second by Commissioner Gamache. Discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Commissioner Jepson.
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad.
Aye.
Commissioner Reinert.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
Commissioner Look.
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
And D passes unanimously. Moving on to E, it's a new refund, restructure, fill for Human Services Community Corrections effective July 11, 2023. We're moving from a half FTE Associate Administrative Assistant, unfunded grade 26, 2049 to 2765 per hour, adding a new half FTE Senior Social Worker, grade 34, range 3366 to 4712 per hour, and we're moving to a 1.0 FTE Senior Social Worker, grade 34, range 3366 to 4712 per hour.
Move to approve.
Moved by Commissioner Reiner, second by Commissioner Schulte. Discussion on this one. Seeing none, roll call vote.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad.
Aye.
Commissioner Reinert.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
Commissioner Look.
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson.
Aye.
And that passes unanimously. We'll move on to F, which is a new position for Human Services, Community Social Services and Behavioral Health, a 1.0 FTE Social Worker, grade 32, range 2924 to $40.92 per hour. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Mash, second by Commissioner Jepson. Discussion. Seeing none, roll call vote.
Commissioner Brassad.
Aye.
Commissioner Reinert.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
Commissioner Look.
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson.
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
That passes unanimously. Moving on to G, new positions for Human Services Economic Assistance, contingent on federal and state funding effective July 11, 2023. They're hiring 4 FTEs, Associate Eligibility Specialist, grade 28, range 2308 to 3116 per hour. Is there a
Mr. Chair.
moved by Commissioner Schulte?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Jepson. These positions are an unwinding of waivers, and there's a huge number of caseloads on these that we're trying to get ahead of. And there are currently 85,000 individuals on medical assistance right now that are going to be processed in part with these positions, as I understand. So there's a motion, a second. Any discussion? Besides, okay, roll call vote.
Commissioner Reinert.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
Commissioner Look.
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson.
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad.
And And that passes unanimously. Moving on to H is a new position for Human Services, Public Health, and Environmental Services, effective July 11, 2023, for a 1.0 FTE Public Health Nurse, grade 34, range 3366 to 4712 per hour. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Jepson,
Second.
second by Commissioner Meisner. Discussion on this one. This one in particular, the public health nurse will be dealing with infectious disease, and we've had kind of an increase in TB. And so they'll be focusing in some of their work, at least in that area. So that'll be good. If there's no further discussion, roll call vote.
Commissioner Schulte. Aye. Commissioner Look.
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson.
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad.
Aye.
Commissioner Reinert.
Aye.
And that passes unanimously. We'll move on to I, a new position for Human Services, Public Health, and Environmental Services, effective July 11, 2023, for a 1.0 FTE Manager for Human Service Programs, grade 38, 4452 an hour to 6231 per hour. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Brassad,
Second.
second by Commissioner Gamache. Discussion. This particular individual is going to be handling the health improvement plan, emergency response, going to be working with the state health improvement plan and opioid settlement. So whoever this new person is going to have a plate full of work to do, certainly. If there's no further discussion, roll call vote.
Commissioner Look.
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson.
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad.
Aye.
Commissioner Reinert.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
That motion passes unanimously. We'll move on to J, which is a new position for Human Services, Community Social Services, and Behavioral Health, contingent on state Minnesota Local Homeless Prevention Aid funding, effective July 11th, 2023, for a 1.0 FTE Lead Program Planner, grade 36, range 3871 an hour to 5419 an hour. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Meisner,
Second.
second by Commissioner Jepson. Discussion?
Mr. Chair?
Yes, Commissioner Gamache.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This was coming from the Minnesota Department of Revenue for local homeless prevention aid to counties. And the amount is almost 1.8 million per year. Obviously, the legislature is seeing some issues that need to be addressed with homelessness, and I know we've seen this in Anoka County as well, and we've got private groups working with it, Stepping Stone, Hope for Youth, and but there's also other needs that need to be addressed. So this is some money that our staff and team can work on to try to take care of some of the issues that we're dealing with on homeless issues. So it's money well spent to help people in need. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, any further discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson.
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad.
Aye.
Commissioner Reinert.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
Commissioner Look.
Aye. And that motion passes unanimously. And the last position that came before the Management Committee this morning was a position for the sheriff, and we joked that we ran out of money for him, but actually, he's got a specific need here for a senior business systems analyst, grade 36, range 3871 to 5419 an hour, 1.0 FTE. This person's going to be dealing with a lot of the technical IT-related projects that the jail deals with. It's the new jail camera systems, body scanners, integration systems, and other IT-related changes that are happening at the jail right now. We have employees at the jail that are kind of handling this, and in some cases, 50% of their time is being used trying to wear different hats, and so they're not able to do their work there. And so this is a new position. It will be funded with the vacancies that the sheriff's office currently has, and so with every vacancy, of course, those dollars have been budgeted but are not spent until someone is hired. And so this would be a new position filling a gap in the sheriff's office that is critical at this point. So is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Brassad.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Schulte. Discussion. Commissioner Gamache, then Commissioner Meisner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In case anybody hasn't noticed, Anoka County is hiring. So there's jobs out there, and there's some really, really good jobs. And I just said this is a really great place to work, so check out our website.
Thank you for the call out. Commissioner Meisner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, Commissioner Schulte and all of us have been talking about the challenges in workforce in general. I just wanted to comment that you had mentioned that this is a brand-new position, but this was a really creative way of the sheriff doing the best that he can. He is also understaffed, actually quite significantly, and he created this position to basically have efficiency within his department. So I just wanted to make a call out for that, and best of luck, not only with this position, but with filling some of the other ones, to Commissioner Gamash's point as well. Thank you.
Any further comments? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Commissioner Jepson.
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad.
Aye.
Commissioner Reinert.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
Commissioner Look.
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
That passes unanimously. We'll move on to L, which is adopting Resolution 2023-M4, approving the tentative agreement between the County of Anoka and Law Enforcement Labor Services Incorporated, representing the office investigators and the medical examiner's office for January 1st, 2022 through December 31st, 2024. Is there an offer of the resolution?
Mr. Chair, I'd move the adoption of resolution number 2023-M4.
The resolution's been offered by Commissioner Reinert. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad.
Aye.
Commissioner Reinert.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
Commissioner Look.
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson.
And that passes unanimously. And that also concludes the additional county board agenda for the management committee. We'll move on to the transportation report, and Commissioner Brasted.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Our Transportation Committee met on Wednesday, June 28th, and we have a few items for you this morning. The first is the committee recommends an award of a contract in the amount of $3,549,753.62 to North Pine Aggregate for construction of transportation infrastructure improvements on US 10, 169 and adjacent frontage and backage roads in preparation for the construction of the Ramsey Gateway project. And we have Joe here to tell us. And the good news is this came in significantly lower than our engineer's estimate, which is always good news. Joe.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board. My name is Joe McPherson. I'm the County Engineer and Chief Officer for Transportation. So as Commissioner Brasted had mentioned, it did come in under our engineer's estimate, which was great to see. As you've heard from me over the course of the last couple of meetings, we've had some bids that have come in significantly the other way. So this was good to see. Nonetheless, this is the kickoff project to get the Ramsey Gateway project underway. This is a preliminary work along Highway 10. They're going to be constructing temporary widening areas along Highway 10 so that we can maintain 2 lanes of traffic in each direction on Highway 10 during construction. And more importantly, we're going to try and maintain all those accesses to all the businesses that exist along Highway 10. Something that's a little unique with the Ramsey project, which we didn't have to deal with on the Anoka Solution project, which is going on right now, is we have nearly 70 direct access points onto Highway 10 from local businesses. So to keep them moving forward and make sure we address their concerns, this project will really help out with that and set the stage for the larger project.
I will move it. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Schulte. Joe, question, is this, are these improvements going to be torn up then as part of the project, or is this kind of built in advance of the project and commingled together later?
Yeah, so Mr. Chair, most of these improvements will likely get removed because they're a temporary situation. However, with respect to the improvements towards the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, next to where Lano Equipment is, right on the City of Anoka and City Ramsey border, we are gonna construct the permanent frontage road on the south side of Highway 10. We need to put that in, and it needs to be done ahead of the bigger project because Sunfish Boulevard will be the first interchange that we work on. So we need the permanent improvements in there. So to that point, there will be some improvements that do remain in place.
And then, Joe, and with the Anoka Solution, I know we had 2 lanes open during the summer, 1 lane open during the winter, but this will be 2 lanes during the winter and summer. And that's the cost for having 2 lanes open.
Correct.
Okay. I think it's important for folks to realize that, we can close the entire highway down and build it, but obviously there's the connectivity is important. So there's a cost obviously to doing that, but it's included in the project cost and anticipated as project costs along the way. So Okay, any further discussion? We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I don't have it on here as a roll call, but we can do a roll call vote on that.
Commissioner Brassad.
Aye.
Commissioner Reinert.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
Commissioner Look.
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson.
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
And that passes unanimously. Item 2.
The committee recommends award of a contract in the amount of $2,509,520.66 to North Valley, Inc. And this is for the 2023 countywide overlay program, the second phase. Joe?
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner, Mr. Chair, and the board. So Old Man Winter sure cast a spell on our roadways this winter. And so as we completed our first project in our first phase, which is actually nearly complete, we have 3 projects left on our Phase 1 overlay project, so that's good. We're right on schedule with that. These were three additional road segments that, as we continue monitoring them this spring, it became quickly evident that we need to do something on there. So similar to the previous item, we were happy to see that the bids came in lower, which was great. So the bituminous prices have remained relatively steady for us this year, which is great. So we do support moving this one forward. I think the residents and businesses that exist along these corridors will be very happy.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Jepson, second by Commissioner Gamache. Discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Commissioner Reinert.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
Commissioner Look.
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson.
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad.
Aye.
That passes unanimously. Item 3.
The committee recommends approval to enter into a contract with the Federal Highway Administration for the INFA grant, which was received for the construction of grade-separated interchanges along US 10 and 169 at CASA 56, which is Ramsey Boulevard, and CASA 57, which is Sunfish, and associated railroad crossings at BNSF, railroad improvements, including frontage roads, backage roads, and other corridor improvements in the cities of Ramsey and Anoka. Joe?
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner, members of the board. So your guys' ears are probably ringing. You've heard this discussion many times. You've seen this image many times, twice today on the screen. I think we've had over 200 action items for this project, so a lot of work went in behind the scenes. With that noted, this action item here relates to the INFRA grant, which is the $40 million grant that was awarded to us by the federal government. A lot of people helped secure that. With that, as with any federal money, there's strings attached to that. So this action item relates to what they call a term sheet. It's a formal agreement. It's essentially a mechanism between FHWA, the state, and then also Anoka County to transfer the funds from one agency to the other. So as we move forward with the project, this will be the mechanism on how we receive the funds. This took 2.5 years to work through, so compliments to our team and our partners at FHWA and the state, but it's finally completed. So this marks a very monumental point in the project development phase for a project, but nonetheless, that's what this item relates to. It's essentially just a mechanism for us to receive the funds from the federal government.
I will move it. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Meisner. Discussion. Commissioner Schulte.
Mr. Chair, I just want to take 3 seconds to thank Joe and his team. This is really a heavy lift, doing, the whole Highway 10 section, all 3 different phases, and getting them all coordinated. And I mean, this is just one example of all those projects and what your team does behind the scenes to make that happen. It doesn't go unnoticed. These are really heavy lifts, and I'm thrilled that we're willing to do it. And I know Highway 65 will come on the heels of that, and you'll do the same thing over there. So make sure you get that down the ranks. Thank your entire team for the work they do.
Will do. Thank you. Appreciate that.
I just want to also note that the INFRA grant, I want to thank our congressional delegations for their hard work on this. This was kind of the, let's say, the component that was necessary to make this thing all come together. I mean, it would eventually come together, but this one lit a fire under it. And we're definitely very appreciative of that and the hard work that's been done on that, not only of our lobbyists, but of our congressional delegation as well. So, okay, if there's no further discussion, roll call vote.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
Commissioner Look.
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson.
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad.
Aye.
Commissioner Reinert.
Aye.
That passes unanimously. Item 4.
The committee recommends approval to enter into a joint powers agreement with Linwood Township for improvements to 205th Avenue from Lion Street to the entrance of Carlos Avery Wildlife Management Area in Linwood Township. Joe?
Thank you, Commissioner, members of the board. So this is an action item relating to a project that's unfolding within Linwood Township. About a year and a half ago, Linwood Township had reached out to Commissioner Reinert to talk about this project, how they're receiving comments from the residents that live along that road, that there's a lot of traffic that goes into and out of Carlos Avery. This is one of about 3 or 4 access points into that wildlife management area. Currently it exists as a gravel road, so as you can imagine, if you get younger kids in there during the summer, it's fun to race up and down the road. You get all the dust in the air and it just causes a lot of commotion. So this has been on the radar for a long time to pave and to improve. So they worked with Commissioner Reinert. He had just heard of a state park road account project that was done by another community within our county. And so he filled them in with some information, kind of led them along the way on how you apply for that. And ultimately they were awarded the state park road account funds. This joint powers agreement, we act as the fiscal agent on this project. We don't have to hold the contract. We're not doing the inspection, but since Linwood Township is not a state aid city or a city over 5,000, we need to act as kind of the big brother in this case, or big sister. So we are just acting in that capacity for the township. They're doing everything else, and this joint powers agreement just spells out the maintenance agreement, long-term costs, all of that stuff. So good partnership on this project.
Is there a motion to approve?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to move approval of the joint powers agreement C0009865 with Linwood Township.
Moved by Commissioner Reinert. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Meisner. Discussion. Commissioner Reinert.
Yeah, I just wanted to note on this too, this is one of those examples of being able to find nuggets of opportunity sometimes. It's just because of the wildlife management area that we were able to receive funding. There's not a large amount of people that live on this road, but nonetheless, I mean, they were being bothered by, you know, the road condition and being gravel and dust in their homes and things like that. And it's kind of a big win for, you know, those folks that live out there. And plus, you know, if you're gonna access the wildlife management area, you've got a better track in, so.
Further discussion. Seeing none, roll call vote.
Commissioner Look.
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson.
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad.
Aye.
Commissioner Reinert.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
That passes unanimously. Item 5.
The committee recommends approval of a professional services contract with ICS for the construction management services for the Coon Lake Maintenance Facility. Joe, this is something we've talked about for a long time.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner. So members of the board, at a previous board meeting, we did bring forward the design contract with HCM Architects. They're going to design the new facility for us. As Commissioner Brassad had mentioned, this is a facility that's served its life. It's beyond its useful life, needs to be replaced. So this contract here actually relates to the construction management services. So this team will help during the design process on trying to weed out any sort of issues that may come up if we try and design something that's not going to work, or it's not feasible, or it's a product you can't receive. And then they'll also help with the day-to-day inspection, just like the 911 call center, where they'll be on the site and boots on the ground. They'll be overseeing construction of the facility and making sure that things go as planned. So we did do an RFP for this, and ultimately all the evaluators decided that ICS did a great job on their proposal, and we all recommend them moving forward.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Schulte.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Jepson. Discussion. As Commissioner Brassad had indicated, we've been talking about this for a long time. The current condition of the facility out there is not good. But I think building for the future and allowing, you know, even squads to park there and things like that is going to be a definite benefit to the area. So if there's no further discussion, roll call vote.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson.
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad.
Aye.
Commissioner Reinert.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
Commissioner Look.
Aye. That passes unanimously.
And Mr. Chair, if I could, I'd just like Joe to comment. We had some very in-depth conversations about the future and the next steps for Highway 65, now that we've got most of that first section funded. So Joe, do you just want to talk a little bit about what's happening now and where we go to next for the public's edification?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Commissioner. So as Commissioner Brosted mentioned at our last Transportation Committee meeting, we had a great discussion to talk about to that point. Now that we're nearly fully funded on that segment 2 of 3, so there are 3 segments that were studied with that 2018 to 2020 Planning and Environmental Linkages study. Now that we're nearly funded on that one, which one are we going to do next? Where do we go now? Where do we keep this momentum going? And so I know that Commissioner Jepson, Commissioner Brosted, and several of you have been working on that and supporting the communities that really need to see these improvements. So where we're at right now is when the Pell study was completed and they wrapped it up in a nice pretty bow, we knew at that time that the segment 1, which is essentially the portion of 81st Avenue and Spring Lake Park, up to about 93rd Avenue and Blaine, that segment was one of the most expensive sections because you have the Highway 10, Highway 65 system-to-system interchange, which needs a lot of work, and it comes with a big price tag. And then also to the south of that, that's where you transition from more the suburban, rural area down into more of that urban core when you get towards Fridley and continue south. So there's that transition period. We knew at the end of that first Pell study that more work needed to be done. Not all the communities were on board with what was proposed. So next Monday, I already have a meeting set up with the city engineers for the city of Spring Lake Park. We're gonna invite Fridley as well, and then the city of Blaine to sit back down at the table. Also MnDOT and Met Council, they were a good partner in that Pell study. We'll bring them to the table, talk about where things were left off. What do they foresee? What are their needs? Have things changed since 2018 and 2020? And what else do we need to look at to get this thing moving again? Because again, we want to keep the momentum going. If there's opportunities for funding to help fund this thing, that's what we're going to look at. The other segment that was on there was segment 3, and that's the portion from just north of 117th Cloud Drive up to just north of Bunker Lake Boulevard. Since the county and the city have already completed improvements on 125th Avenue, and then the 2 subsequent crossings just north and south, they're flyover bridges, really segment 3 just involves Bunker Lake Boulevard. So we've done some work in the past on that as far as design goes. We need to freshen up those designs and get to a more formal layout. That's the next step on that one too. So these 2 are kind of working concurrently. We're gonna start moving forward on both of them. Likely because it's less complicated up at Bunker Lake Boulevard. That one will be a little easier to produce and get to a more of a concrete answer or proposed alternative. And then likely that'll be a good one to set us up for future Met Council regional solicitation applications or any of these IIJA, which are those federal discretionary grant applications. So it's a high level view of where things are at.
Great, thanks for sharing that. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Commissioner Brasted. We will move on to the Intergovernmental and Community Relations Committee report, and Commissioner Reinert.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair. We have no actions for you today. The committee did meet on June 27th, and we received budget proposals and updated information from the 5 areas of work that are done under IG. But rather than just turning it back to you, I'm just going to comment a little bit on each one of those areas and let people know about the work that's being done. We're going to start with Veteran Services. We had presentation by John Kriesel. He says that he is fully staffed. Daily office and virtual operations are running smooth as to be expected under his leadership. And he's got some goals for 2024, and he's on task for getting those done as well. A little bit of a budget increase, but that's mostly due to Helios and merit pay. Midwest Examiner's Office, our director, the one and only Shane Sheets, who recently won an award, the Healthcare Hero Award. Very proud of him. This office continues to grow. Back in 2008, there was 11 counties that we had contracted with for services, and now 15 years later, there are 41 counties that this office contracts with. And this doesn't include all the hospitals and other facilities that we also give service to. He does all this with 26 full-time employees. But he also has 54 temp employees that are on an on-call basis. And I think that's why the office runs so efficiently, because he is able to have these on-call temp employees come in for the ebbs and flows of peaks and valleys of the work that they do there. And also because of all the work that we do outside, county share as far as cost of this facility is about 18% of their total budget. License and passport services, we had presentation from John Lenars. 300,000 completed transactions in 2022. That's a 28% increase over 2020. They have 5 locations, 56 full-time employees, and kind of a neat thing that's happening is we're actually experimenting with having local self-service tab kiosks, and they'll be located in Cub Foods. So more to be discussed on that, where those locations will be and how it works out for us. Library, we had Colleen Hebner, who's in the audience here today, give a presentation. A couple of stats on the library. We've got 130,000 card holders. The libraries had over 500,000 visits in 2022. And something that we're seeing a rise in, and that's the online users. There's 105,000 online users, but also 1.5 million website visits. This is an area of service for the libraries that's on the increase that I'm actually a big advocate for, because you know, I think the more we can do online, the more people that now maybe don't travel to libraries as much, we will be able to service more people and give the entire operation more relevance. It's a great library system that we have. Colleen does a great job, and she has 80 full-time employees to do that work. Last but not least, government relations with Karen Skepper giving a presentation, and this is where the county gets a real bang for the buck. It's a lower budget, and we literally use our lobbyists to work with staff and commissioners here in the different departments to identify legislative priorities, assuring that legislative changes that are happening help counties and not hurt us. And this year, we really worked out great. We had a lot of legislative positives, a lot of HS grants, funding for Highway 10, Highway 65, and then there were some certain taxing structures that we wanted to keep in place that benefited counties, and we were able to do that. Anoka County truly continues to be a leader in identifying ways to streamline programs by obtaining legislative changes, not only just for Anoka County, but for all counties. Actually, we are pretty innovative in here in the initiatives that we do, and it really does benefit a lot more counties than just us. So that's a short description of what IG does, and I'll turn it back to you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Reinert, for that extensive report. It was very, very good. We will move on to the Parks Committee report, and Commissioner Gamache.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Parks Committee met on Tuesday, July 11th. On Wednesday, July 5th, after the 4th of July. We met at Bunker Beach Water Park in the Bunker Hills Regional Park, and we received an update from Jake Seaford, our Recreation Facilities Manager at Bunker, and that was some good information as to how things are going at Bunker Beach this year. And so far, so good. It's been a busy year. We had some less than perfect times on some weekends, but now the weather's really improving a lot, and we're getting great weekends. So it looks like we're off to a good start for a good year. We had 4 action items. The committee recommended to the county board to adopt resolution 2023 PRK 06, accepting a gift from the Centerville Lions Club.
Is there an offer of the resolution?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I'd like to move adoption of this resolution.
The resolution is offered by Commissioner Reinert. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion that resolution passes.
Next is item number 2. The committee recommended to the county board to adopt resolution 2023 PRK 07, accepting gifts from the Coon Rapids Lions Club for the kids fishing clinic. And this was, the fishing clinic was a big success again this year. They were getting $1,000 to the That was from the 35th Annual Kids Fishing Clinic held at the Coon Rapids Regional Dam on Saturday, May 6, 2023. And one of the things that Jeff Perry mentioned is that free hot dogs were back for the kids after the COVID years. So we were happy to see that.
Is there an offer of the resolution?
I would offer the resolution.
Resolution's been offered by Commissioner Schulte. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That resolution passes unanimously. Item 3.
Item 3 is the committee recommends to the county board to adopt Resolution 2023 PRK-08 and Resolution 2023 PRK-09 approving the Rice Creek North Regional Trail Project state bond appropriation of $200,000 that came this year, and a fiscal year state capital bonding request of $6.75 million for the construction of the last remaining 1.75 miles of the Rice Creek North Regional Trail. This was some good news that we received some money in this legislative session for appropriation. The resolution was to help us do the planning, and now we're looking for the last amount of money to finish the trail. So Jeff Perry, our director, is here. I'll let Jeff kind of update us on the session in 2023 and what we're looking for in 2024. Jeff?
Thank you, Commissioner. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Jeff Perry, Park Director for Anoka County. And the first resolution, these are both MMB, Minnesota Management and Budget requirements. So the first resolution, PRK-08, simply is accepting the $200,000 we got for design and engineering and planning. And PRK-09 is for approving the larger ask of $6.75 million for the trail gap. So we only received $200,000. We'll certainly put that money to good use, but looking forward, we will build this into Anoka County's legislative platform as we have in the past, and cross our fingers and hopefully we'll be successful in the next bonding session. So very important project out in the Circle Pines area. It's the missing trail link. It's just under 2 miles. It's through some pretty tough habitat. There's 2 bridges, an extensive piece of boardwalk as well. That's why it's so expensive, because we're going through some sensitive wetland habitat. But we stand ready and poised for the next round of bonding.
Is there an offer of resolution 2023 PRK-08 and 2023 PRK-09?
I would move to adopt those resolutions.
Resolutions are offered by Commissioner Reinert. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Commissioner Jepson.
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad.
Aye.
Commissioner Reinert.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
Commissioner Look.
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
That passes unanimously. Item 4.
Item number 4, the committee recommended to the county board to award a contract for the exhibit and display/design build services for Wargo Nature Center to the Blue Rhino Studios in the amount of $125,000. It's Anoka County Contract C 0010127. This is an exciting project to kind of finish off. We did one on the first floor. Now we're going to finish the second floor. That's, if I'm correct, Jeff. And if you've seen some of the pictures, I'm not sure, but that's just the basement right now, I'm guessing, as we're looking at it. But they had elaborate design ideas to make it fit with what's upstairs, so that they all kind of fit together. And I thought for what they were planning, the $125,000 was a pretty decent price. And if you looked at some of the different facilities that they've worked on across the country, this Blue Rhino Studios, I was kind of amazed that they would even take a $125,000 contract, but they're a local group. So that's probably one of the reasons why they did. But this looks like an exciting project to continue the upgrade and the updating of the Wargo Nature Center projects at Wargo.
Is there a motion to approve?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I'd move to adopt, or not adopt, but I guess support this contract, C0010127.
Moved by Commissioner Reinert,
Second.
second by Commissioner Schulte. Discussion?
Just a quick note, the 125 that this cost, and from the pictures that we saw, the renderings, if they actually get close to that, this is probably one of the better deals I've seen. Truly great improvement for the facility.
Okay, any further discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Commissioner Meisner,
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad,
Aye.
Commissioner Reiner,
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte,
Aye.
Commissioner Look,
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson.
Aye.
That passes unanimously.
And Mr. Chair, we had a couple of informational items. Just the one I want to mention is the public firewood sale will be held again this year in September and October this fall. So people should look on our website for more information about that. It's a great way to buy some firewood for your fireplace this winter. So be sure to look at that. I also want to thank Jeff and his staff for helping out. I was had the luxury to work at the Andover Fun Fest, Family Fun Fest on Friday and on Saturday, and there was a great turnout because the weather was perfect. Usually you got to be 95 degrees and just sweating everything. I actually wore jeans on Friday night because it was so cool. But we had great stuff. Jeff gave me all these bags and all this stuff, and halfway through Friday, I was like, all the bags are gone. Everybody was grabbing stuff. I had to go back 2 or 3 times to pick up more of the booklets that we had. And as I was telling Commissioner Schulte before the meeting today, I said, if you're ever working any kind of a booth at a carnival thing, bring rocks. Because you got to hold down your stuff when it's windy, and every little kid under the age of 6 will come up and take mom along with them, and come right up to your booth and try to grab the rocks, and they'll a lot of times steal it, so you got to have more rocks than they brought. But they're great. It was great. It was fun. It was great, and I just want to thank Jeff and his staff because I did go up there Saturday at noon before it started again, and I had to pick up some, and I had to come back at 2 o'clock and pick up some more stuff, and they were great getting that out to us. But it was a fun time, and everybody likes to talk about the parks, and so there's great interest because everybody was picking up booklets about what's coming up, grabbing the pamphlets on Bunker Beach, on Wargo Nature Center, on the golf course. It was just a fun time, so I appreciate the help. Thank you, and it was great to do that.
Commissioner Schulte?
Yes, Mr. Chair, Commissioner Gamache. First of all, not all of us are comfortable with rocks in front of us. It's not the 6-year-olds that are going to throw them at us. But my question is really more towards the firewood sale, and this is maybe for Jeff. When they buy firewood in Anoka County, is it still quarantined to Anoka County because of the emerald ash borer, or is it now available for the 7-county metro?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair, Commissioner Schulte. Yes, we ensure that if we have ash in that particular load of wood, that it can only be transported to quarantine counties. So we control that through pre-registration and based on our inventory. But we do have quite a bit of emerald ash borer infected wood, and we ensure that those can only be transported to quarantine counties.
Thank you.
Good point. Good point.
Commissioner Meiser had a question.
Yeah, Commissioner Meiser.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, just as Commissioner Gamache, since you're giving updates, I know one of the updates for the Parks Committee was I believe there's 4 camps running for Lake George. And so one of the things that I had brought up, Commissioner Jepson started a community group about adaptive programs through parks and libraries and things. So just as an update that you are addressing that, we couldn't do it this year because of the timing, but just in terms of discussion, and if there's anything that you wanted to give in terms of general updates with that group since you're leading it, but I did want to just make mention of that. And thank you very much as well for doing that.
Commissioner Jepson?
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner Meisner, for bringing that up. And again, kudos to the Parks Department for embracing this idea and supporting a vital aspect of our community and these kiddos who want to be a part of our parks program as much as anyone else. And no, we couldn't got started a little late, but kudos to your staff for finding creative funding opportunities to get this very expensive equipment, very necessary equipment into our parks program so these kids can enjoy the great outdoors like all of us do. So thank you.
Okay, thank you.
That concludes my report, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Gamache. We will move on to item 8, which is consider entering into contract C0010148, a temporary use agreement between the Metropolitan Airports Commission, the County of Anoka, and Lynx FBO Anoka LLC, doing business as Atlantic Aviation in conjunction with 3M Open for parking. You'll see that attachment on there. There are no costs associated with entering into this temporary use agreement, but as you can well imagine, during the 3M Open, things get busy out there. So this is just the necessary paperwork on that. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Moved by Commissioner Reinert, second by Commissioner Jepson. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Commissioner Brassad.
Aye.
Commissioner Reinert.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
Commissioner Look.
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson.
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
Thank you for that. That passes unanimously. We'll move on to item 9, which is consider resolution 2023-74, resolution establishing an Anoka County Library Advisory Board, replacing the Anoka County Library Board. You'll see the attached resolution there. And is there an offer of the resolution?
I'll offer the resolution.
Resolution's been offered by Commissioner Jepson. Discussion. Oh, we got Commissioner Jepson first.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I just want to comment on this. This was some legislative action that went through this past session and was passed successfully. At first glance, it might cause some pink flags rather than red flags, but just to announce to the community watching and anyone who has concerns about this, it's really a record-keeping process that we're already acting on, and the advisory board already works in this fashion. It's just a housekeeping issue that had to go through legislation, and this is the last crossing of Ts and dotting of Is that needed to be done to get this formal. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Meiser.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And yeah, just to echo the comments of Commissioner Jepson, I mean, this had been talked about actually for several years. This was in conjunction with, I believe, the County of Ramsey that happened legislatively. And I know that originally when this was being talked about, I mean, I definitely did research, like what does this mean? You know, change can be hard, or the perception of change can be really hard. And so I take that kind of thing to heart. This board is very dedicated to the library and has worked, you know, over the years very hard. And so to Commissioner Jepson's point, it is a change in terms, but the practice is what I was actually had most of my questions about. What does this mean in terms of practice and pragmatically? But essentially, it's always functioned this way. It is now a legal change of wording, and then I believe now we are with the rest of the state of Minnesota. It was just Ramsey and Anoka County that did not adopt this practice officially, and so now we are just aligned with everybody else. So thank you.
Further discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Commissioner Reinert.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
Commissioner Look.
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Jepson.
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad.
Aye.
And that passes unanimously. Thank you for that. At this point, I'm going to turn the meeting over to Rhonda Sivaraja for an introduction.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. I am pleased that today we have with us David Elgis, who is with Hartman Executive Advisors. He is our CIO, and he has hit the ground running and has been having a lot of meetings the past few weeks just to kind of get a baseline as to where we're at and where we'll be going. And before David speaks, I would just say one of the things that I have appreciated in meeting with him is really that servant leadership and the ability and willingness to really empower the staff that are there, who are very knowledgeable in the work that they do, and to walk alongside them. So, David?
Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Chair. Good morning, members of the board. Thank you for the time to kind of jump on the agenda to just say good morning, and I'm glad that I'm here. As I'm sure that you all agree, it's a very crucial time for IT, given recent events. This is really why my focus is, excuse me, very operational continuity focused. This is really a two-pronged approach to the assessment that we do here. One is very much front and center operational continuity, given recent events, and the other one is really an assessment of how the department is, from its staff to its policies, its procedures, what they measure, what they manage, and how they manage it. From being a two-term political appointee, CIO for two cities, I'm very aware of the hard and impactful work that public sector does, which is all the more reason why we need to, it's very front and center where operations really needs to be part of the primary focus. Looking at the team, making sure that regardless of the recent events, that we keep the focus really on the residents that we serve, and understanding, as I'm sure all of you would agree, that IT plays a critical role in the underpinning to how all of those services are delivered. So that just really echoes to the work that I'm approaching now. We're really at the beginning stages, which is really the assessment stage, which is really about collecting artifacts. Artifacts are organizational structures, functional structures, utilization matrix, looking at strategies, policies, procedures, the skill set of each of the staff members and what they do. And then it's really around stabilize if we need to, really understanding kind of where that structure looks like and making sure that everything is being covered and all the work is being done. And then the opportunity for improvement. So like we usually say in IT, it's a three-legged stool, and this is the way that we're approaching the work. So I'm looking forward, some of you I had the opportunity to meet with in person. I'm looking forward to working with you all in my time here as we look to find a permanent CIO into this position. So I'm very excited to be here, and I'm very glad to work with each and every one of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Are there any questions? I'm sure there'll be some as time goes on, but
I'm sure there will.
but certainly thank you for being here and for this this labor that you're going to do and help us through and that sort of thing. We appreciate your expertise and certainly look forward to recommendations that come forward. And just like that, there's questions that pop up. So Commissioner Meisner.
Mr. Chair, well, I did have the pleasure of meeting you, and I already did pepper you with some initial questions. But in terms of like the process, so for all 7 of us, as you're doing this work, and not that you have to have the answer right now, but I hope that there will be, you know, formal updates where we can hear information, ask questions, because, you know, something of this nature is a heavy lift, but then also just to keep us informed and that kind of a thing. So again, I assume that's on the calendar, but you know me, I like to have lots of communication. So thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Schulte.
David, welcome, first of
Thank
all. Secondly, I look forward to meeting you and learning more about you. But more importantly, I want to learn why I got 21 emails from you yesterday. And we could talk about that later, but it was interesting. I didn't know who you were. I didn't know the name. I almost called the administrator to say, why did I get all these emails and what's this all? But I thought I would figure it out over time, and we will. Thank you.
Thank
Welcome.
you.
Well, welcome. Thank you, and look forward to working with you. So thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, if there's nothing else to come before the county board this morning, we will stand adjourned. Thank you.